The U.S. Women's National Team Victory Tour rolling on. The celebration continues. Today, the world champions are in Birmingham, Alabama, led by Alex Morgan, Carly Lloyd, and Crystal Dunn, who is trying to impress the coach, Jill Ellis. U.S. Soccer in full support today in Alabama. Welcome to the U.S. Women's National Team Victory Tour presented by AT&T. And the house is packed here today at Legion Field in Alabama. The United States getting set to take on Haiti. The U.S. 5-0 winners at Ford Field in Detroit this past Thursday. Looking for a repeat here today. And welcome in, everybody. I'm Glenn Davis. Alongside me, former U.S. Women's National Team World Cup winner Julie Foudy. As we get you set up for this one here, the place is absolutely packed. It is electric. But tonight, is it just about celebration or is it about preparation for the Olympics?
I think a little bit of both. They obviously want to thank the fans for their great support. They want to celebrate what happened over the summer. But they also know, the team and Coach Ellis, that in just 5 months' time, the U.S. national team has to qualify for the Olympics in February. And only 2 teams from this region go. Only 12 teams total to the Olympics. So they're waving to the fans and thanking them, but they're also looking forward.
Superstar Carly Lloyd still scoring goals, had a hat-trick on Thursday in Detroit against Haiti. Of course, she was the Golden Ball winner at the World Cup, but all eyes are now on Crystal Dunn.
Yeah, and this is a player who was the last player cut from that World Cup roster. Young player at 23, so versatile, she can play all over the field. But one thing we saw this year in the NWSL, she led the league in goals at 15 playing up front, and she played out wide against Haiti in that first game. Saw she had success getting in line, she had success scoring at that end of that game, and here's a player Jill Ellis knows she needs in terms of her take-on mentality and the versatility she brings.
Boy, and that shows she can get into the penalty area as well. But today, another big analytic to look at. The United States national team are unbeaten in their last 99 home games. Today, they could make it 100, Julie.
It's crazy when you look at that stat, over 10 years since they lost at home. But the real one they're going to be looking at is the one on the bottom. No defending World Cup champion has ever gone on the next year to win that Olympic gold medal.
And here they come as they walk out here at Legion Field. Let's take in the sights and sounds of the U.S. national team and Haiti here on the Victory Tour. Stay with us in Birmingham, Alabama. The national anthem's coming up next. The celebration continues here in Birmingham, Alabama. The 4th match of the Victory Tour for the United States, again taking on Haiti. These 2 teams met Thursday night at Ford Field in Detroit. And the U.S. were 5-0 winners in that one against a very youthful, essentially an under-20 national team. Player introductions continuing. That one doesn't need an introduction, Carly Lloyd, does she, Julie?
Boy, has she continued her rate since the World Cup. Scoring in bunches, for sure.
Of course, Becky Sauerbrunn, Hope Solo. All the stars are here. They were out in front of their hotel this morning. And Legion Field is packed to the gills here today. Time now to listen in to the national anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hat for the national anthem of Haiti. Ladies and gentlemen, please join our supporters groups in singing the Star-Spangled Banner.
Victory Tour continues. When we come back, we'll show you how both coaches set their teams up. The U.S. getting set to take on Haiti. Welcome back to Legion Field here in Alabama. Christy Rampone getting the start here in the center back position today. Her 311th appearance for the United States. And the captain is the 29-year-old Edney Limage for Haiti, who averages less than 21 years of age. A very youthful team here today. Let's take a look at the team tactical for the United States in the 4-3-3. And Julie, we go right to Becky Sauerbrunn getting the start in central midfield. First start ever in central midfield. Fans are used to seeing her at that center back position, but also on the right side there, Crystal Dunn getting another nod. And of course up top, Alex Morgan in that 4-5-1 system. Tobin Heath was originally slated to start. Her ankle swelled up last night, so Sauerbrunn moved into the central midfield position. And Haiti in a 4-3-3 here today, and it's a team that, again, we go right to the youth, and this is essentially their under-20 national team. And all eyes are on 16-year-old number 9, Mondesser. She's one of 6 teenagers starting for Haiti with this lineup, but here's a player that shows great promise for her country at only 16 years old. Incredible story is the coach, Szek Borkowski, 52-year-old, Polish-born, has taken this job. It's a non-paid job. He's also the coach of FC Indiana in the WPSL, but spoke to him this morning. Just an incredibly electric, passionate guy about trying to provide opportunity and build a program in Haiti. Yeah, and he came on after they failed to qualify for the Olympics and said, I'm going to give it a go and try and get them into the World Cup, which of course they did not make. U.S. in white, Haiti in the blue. It's game on here at Legion Field in Alabama. Johnston. Again, these teams are turning around after playing at Ford Field in Detroit on Thursday night. Carly Lloyd into the box early here, and the cross is blocked. First corner of this game comes to the United States inside of 34 seconds.
And a good sign for the U.S. They're getting in line already. They had great success against Haiti, with Dunn in particular, Crystal Dunn on that right side. And there you see Lloyd slipping in as well.
They play the short one. Haiti's not even aware of it here. O'Hara will whip it in. It's 1-0. Smacked in by Julie Johnston. Inside of a minute, the United States are up.
This, of course, one of the dangers with young teams. You can see Haiti not even set, not even over there. Julie Johnston wide open coming in out of that seam. We've seen how she can finish in all positions on set pieces. And there she is, getting it on early for the United States, early on the board at 1. But Haiti not even there for that corner kick.
Now, there's some concern that because this is such a young team, scattered with 16, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds. Somewhat fought their way through the game in Detroit wonderfully now, but today, with a second consecutive game here, there's a bit of a worry here that this one could potentially get out of hand on the field turf. Johnston picking up her 5th international goal. Gerville tries to knock it forward. Again, they're looking to get a little bit better possession here. That's one of the focuses that Czech Borkowski had on this young team here, is can we hold the ball a little bit more, just to sort of alleviate all this United States pressure playing against some of their idols. O'Hara now. Rampone, Johnston. And it's over hit towards Klingenberg.
You're going to see the way the U.S. sets up Klingenberg, the left outside back, O'Hara, the right outside back. They're going to start in very high positions, already in the midfield.
Alex Morgan tries to get the cross in. Blocked initially by Bobon. Pouncing on that was Limage. Ball still loose. And Haiti in survival mode here early in this one.
And when you put those outside backs into midfield, you push those midfielders up, you can see Haiti only having 3 midfielders with that 4-3-3 alignment. They're going to get a lot of numbers coming through.
Johnston racing into the box, and there's no call. It's just smashed out of there again by Sauveline Boubou, who's 18 years of age. Down is number 22, Megan Klingenberg, who plays for the Houston Dash. Klingenberg, what a World Cup she had. Played every minute of every game. Was voted to the FIFA All-Star team.
Klingenberg loving to get forward. You can see her wanting to get a call on that one. Boulis getting a leg in on that. Catching her in the ankle. Number 6 for Haiti.
Johnston, Rapinoe. Sauerbrunn in that central midfield role. Not accustomed to seeing her. What an outstanding World Cup Becky Sauerbrunn had. Crystal Dunn now trying to get turned. It's tackled away, top of the box. Morgan Bryan was trying to come out of there. Midfield for Haiti, that includes a 16-year-old Darlene Rademacher, who's an incredible story. We'll get to that a little bit later as the United States continue to build things up. Sauerbrunn. Crystal Dunn at the top of the box, tries a left-footed shot. That's blocked.
You can already see, Glenn, the comfort level of Becky Sauerbrunn in that holding central midfield position. This is a position she hasn't played since high school, too, mind you.
Pino, penetrating pass, tried to pick out Lloyd. Originally, Australia scheduled to play this game. They went on strike. And Haiti jumping in here, and as the manager Borkowski says this is an incredible opportunity for my young players. Essentially, this is their under-20 national team. Morgan, Bryan to Lloyd. And Haiti's going to get a free kick from the referee, Margaret Domka. Let's take a look at our Continentalist Tire Analyst Corner keys to the game here.
Well, just speaking of Becky Sauerbrunn there, that's going to be one of the first things that Jill Ellis needs to find a replacement for. With Holiday retiring, she's looking at central midfield options. We'll talk a lot about that in this game. And then also the wide flank play. In particular, Crystal Dunn getting in behind Lotz, that outside back position. This is an area she really wants to get better at in terms of getting players behind the defense, getting in line.
Rateau knocked it forward. Trying to get there was Borgella for Haiti. Number 3 is Jennifer Lemage, who's also only 18 years of age on the ball now. Many of these players based in Haiti, a number of them, 5 of them at FC Indiana in the United States in the WPSL. There's youth players from Michigan. It's an amazing roster put here together. And, you know, the coach, Shek Borkowski, saying, look, my players are just getting used to being in a 5-star hotel and are stunned with sort of the amenities that have gone with this trip.
They're getting a police escort into training yesterday. Yeah, he said half the team hadn't even been out of Haiti before with how young this group is. But that's the type of experience you need as a country that's trying to grow and build.
The real leaders are Edney Lemage in goal, who plays for the Houston Aces in the WPSL. And, of course, in midfield, Kimberly Boulos, 26 years of age, who was U.S. born, played at Fordham, and is now back in Haiti, actually, not only as a player for FC Toro, but is also organizing teams and training down there to try and push the development of the women's game in Haiti.
Yeah, and the great thing about Boulos is she said after we lost to the United States in the World Cup qualifiers, I was so frustrated. I said, we've got to figure out something in Haiti to get more support. She called a friend down there and said, can we start a women's program alongside your men's program, that FC Toro? And he said, absolutely. So she lives down there full time and is now running the women's program at FC Toro. And she said at first the parents were like, why are we giving up precious field space for girls to play soccer? Because girls don't play soccer in Haiti. And she said as soon as they saw them playing, now all of a sudden the numbers have doubled. There's tremendous support.
Klingenberg now. Here's the run from Carly Lloyd, who has been everywhere. Lionel Messi met him in Houston recently. He's been kicking field goals. What else has she been doing, Julie? Done hitting for hat tricks.
She said she was actually flying in between to all the different events and then just coming to Houston for the games at the end of the season. But I'll tell you what, it hasn't slowed her down as we've seen in these games.
World Cup final hat trick in only 16 minutes against Japan. Historic moment. Pressing play from Dunn here. And it'll be a throw into Haiti. 10 minutes in. A goal 53 seconds in. From Julie Johnston, the U.S. up 1-0. So I guess Crystal Dunn is one of the talking points here because clearly a player that has been rewarded for play in the NWSL, brought back into the team now, looking ahead to the Olympics. Her versatility on the smaller 18-person roster could be an asset.
Yeah, because she played, as we saw with the under-20s when they won a World Cup. She was a back. We've seen in college she's played in the back. She's played in the front. With her pro team this year, they put her up front. She led the league in goals. She's right now an outside midfield. I asked her yesterday, what's your favorite position of the 500 you play? She said, actually, I think I like that outside midfield position because I can face up, I can get in line. And she's a player whose first instinct is to face up, which you love to see, and take on and get in the box.
Well, and right there, taking people on, earns a free quick one for the U.S. They've caught Haiti napping again. O'Hara drives it in. Trying to get in there with Sauerbrunn, but it'll be a goal kick to Haiti. Kelly O'Hara with the delivery.
You know, and the other interesting thing that Ellis is going to be looking about is with Becky Sauerbrunn. Can you take this back line that did so well at the Olympics and restructure it if you put her in midfield, which she's looking at again today? Because I think there's no doubt she probably would do great things in that holding center midfield position, but do you want to mess with a back line that really was their gravy train in the World Cup?
The back four and the collective defending set them up for the run that they had.
And we've seen what Christy Rampone can do as a leader and as a great player, but she's going to be 41 at the next Olympics.
Javier Borgella now. And this is the best possession. Ulis moves it on. Haiti has had. They promptly give it away. And that's what the coach, Shek Borkowski, is just hoping today they could grab a little bit more possession. The expectations are very realistic for this team. Johnston. Also elected to the FIFA All-Star team at the World Cup. Offside flag is up. Be a free kick to Haiti. How much of a measuring stick can this truly be, Julie? Because look, Australia, Haiti, with all due respect, the competition level very different.
Yeah, I mean, you could. Yes, it's a game, and you know, with all due respect to Haiti, but you know, you're not going to get a ton out of this tactically. You're not even looking at Becky Sauerbrunn in that holding central midfield position. There's no pressure on the ball. There's nothing you're having to defend. So it becomes a challenge in that regard. But it also, what we used to do as players, when you knew you were coming against a team that probably isn't going to be able to stay with you, is it becomes an opportunity for you to challenge yourself mentally. All right, so what are we going to build on? We're going to build on getting in line. How many, and you set different goals. How many times can we get in line?
Bryant can't control it. Here's Haiti now, and finally got a couple of players in front of the ball. Darlene Rademacher, who's 16 years of age and plays for the Michigan Gators, did not release that.
I think actually the players too, there's that mental letdown of they thought they were going to get a really good game against Australia, you know, and
Crystal Dunn has come inside now.
Yeah, especially after
Rapinoe, back to that in a second, because we know Megan Rapinoe can make things happen in the blink of an eye.
I was just going to say, especially after all the trash talking Australia did after that World Cup game, but.
O'Hara, beautifully flighted ball. Morgan tries to bring it down off the field turf, and pouncing on it is Lamage, who is the elder of this Haitian team at 30 years of age. Morgan was the target.
Good run in and a great ball in. Just let this one get away from her. You can see the bounce on that turf. Heard players talking about it yesterday. It's a hard field. Alex will want that one though again with a little bit of a softer touch. She's in on that.
Morgan today appearing for the 94th time for the United States. For the top. Not the best of clears. Carly Lloyd in the area, but Haiti in possession now. Quickly besieged by Morgan Bryan. They've won it back in a good area. Quick change of the point of attack. Morgan goes down to the penalty spot. They go. The United States a chance to make it 2 here.
Spoke to Alex Morgan yesterday. I said, you went down hard a few times. You can see Bulis coming in late and clumsy there. I think that's a good call by the referee. Spoke to her yesterday saying you went down hard a couple times in that game. She said, I said, how's that knee? She said, 100%, I'm all good.
7 games in the World Cup for Morgan, had a goal. Carly Lloyd. has delivered again. Lloyd, her 75th international goal. At 6 in the World Cup, and she's got her opener here today in Alabama.
I think there's going to be no question marks when players look around and say, all right, who's going to take this penalty kick with the United States anymore? You give it to Carly Lloyd. We saw what she could do in the World Cup under pressure situations. And a nice, easy finish for Lloyd there.
Borgella plays it wide. Gerville now. Rapinoe. Bulos, the 26-year-old, again played at Fordham. Had a stint in Sweden as well. And it's won back by Megan Rapinoe. Some doubt if she was going to play today. Nice angled run here. Crystal Dunn has scored. More for Crystal Dunn. It's 3-0 United States, 17th minute.
Nice ball in by Megan Rapinoe, but you can see the gap between the two backs for Haiti. There's about 40 yards between backs, and Crystal Dunn will make you punish. Will punish you for that one. So much space, and with the pace that she has, that becomes an easy finish for Dunn. And again, the danger of that young team for Haiti. Set pieces, that back line, all these little details that end up killing you if you don't get it right.
Look at Megan Rapinoe, who's had some groin problems, and she gets the start here today, her 111th appearance, as Hope Solo will get a touch and a roar from the crowd here at Legion Field.
Actually surprised Rapinoe got some minutes today. She's probably only going to get this first half, but talked yesterday about having some groin issues, just flaring up after games, some discomfort and pain there, but she said, I think all it needs is a little bit of rehab and some rest, probably. She's not going to get that for another 10 days until after that final.
Yeah, October 1st, her and the Seattle Reign will be taking on FC Kansas City, a rematch of last year's NWSL final. We had the pleasure of calling that, and that sets up to be a wonderful sort of revenge opportunity for the Seattle Reign.
Two excellent teams. That'll be a fun one to watch.
Megan Rapinoe, 6 matches at the World Cup, 2 goals and 2 assists. And she also was named to the FIFA World Cup All-Star team. And Alex Morgan again down. And, you know, you just hate seeing her take the physical punishment because so much of the last couple of years has been defined by injury, Julie.
Oh, gosh, what a 2 years she's had. A run of ankle injury that turned into a bone injury, and then the knee coming into this World Cup. You know, and besides the toll it takes on you physically, mentally for her, you can see the frustration of just wanting to be back healthy again.
Bit of a lazy ball. It's brought in Borgella and make that Mondesir. Mondesir only 16 years of age. Again, one of those players that plays in the WPSL with FC Indiana. O'Hara. Now the 3 up front doing a lot of defending. Mondesir, Chandler, Louis for Haiti, who really struggled to get out of their own half of the field here. 20 minutes in from Birmingham, Alabama. Victory tour just playing in front of amazing crowds, over 40,000 in Pittsburgh, 20,000 plus in Chattanooga. Ford Field in Detroit packed on Thursday night, and Alabama as well.
Here's what happened to Alex Morgan earlier. You can see the high boot coming in right on her head.
Johnston to Sauerbrunn. Must be interesting for Julie Johnson looking ahead of her and seeing Becky Sauerbrunn in front of her and not alongside her. Klingenberg, nice give and go, big space and a big opportunity. Rapinoe squares it into the box. Rapinoe again over the top. Goal kick Haiti. They carve out a huge opening. Well, Megan Rapinoe very active. Hey, don't forget, MLS Soccer Sunday presented by Audi continues today with an East-West showdown. 3 points on the line with the MLS playoffs right around the corner. The Portland Timbers taking on the New York Red Bulls. Switch over to ESPN following our game at 5 Eastern, and that is a good one. Implications in both the East and Western Conference there with that Portland-New York matchup. Sauerbrunn lays it off. Alex Morgan. Crystal Dunn, big save at the back post. Trailing the play, knocking the simple touch in is Carly Lloyd. Edney Lamage slow to get up for Haiti in goal. Second of the game for Carly Lloyd.
A couple positives here. Alex Morgan getting in line. And then you get some runners in the box. Crystal Dunn making that all-important near post run and makes it an easy tap in for Carly Lloyd. She doesn't make that run, though. That ball's maybe not getting across.
It is now U.S. 4, Haiti 0, 76th international goal for Carly Lloyd.
And the beauty of Carly Lloyd playing in that high attacking central midfield seam. We saw at the World Cup how when they moved her into that position it changed things up. We've seen post World Cup how dominant she can be out of that seam because it's so hard to track that run. And she's still playmaking, putting pressure on the balls we see here. Such a good seam for her.
And I think what's also impressive how hungry she remains in these games. It's, you know, this whole team wanting to reward all these fans with goals and good performances, and you can tell it's a very professional attitude that's brought to these stadiums on this victory tour.
Especially given they must be exhausted to go straight from the World Cup into the league, into the promotions. They'll be the first to say don't feel sorry for us, but you also know it takes a toll physically and mentally on you.
Christy Rampone, the U.S. soccer legend, today appearing for the 311th time for the United States, which is mind-blowing in itself. Not to mention she's
crazy.
a mother.
40 years old and still so fit, so fast.
Morgan Bryant, Carly Lloyd, those two sometimes synonymous in mentions at the last World Cup. The whole Bryant to Lloyd link so vital with the turnaround.
Yeah, we used to talk about partnership up top.
Get back to that in a second. Here's Morgan with a great cross, speared across the face of goal by O'Hara.
We used to talk about who's going to partner with Alex up top. Now we talk about who's going to partner with Carly coming out of that midfield seam up top.
Johnston. Dunn has found tremendous space here. Will get across to the far post, overhit it. Morgan was making the run there. This U.S. Soccer International Friendly is presented by AT&T. DirecTV and AT&T are now one, bringing television and wireless together. Another free kick for the U.S. and again Knocked to the ground, Alex Morgan. Quick run there from Rapinoe as the U.S. tried the quick one. Knocked back over the halfway line again to Rampone, who goes back to Hope Solo.
And if I'm Jill Ellis watching how many times Alex Morgan has hit that turf, you know, I don't know how many minutes, how many minutes you're going to give her. Yes, you want to give her minutes and have the fans see her, but you also understanding she's still coming back. Had knee surgery after the World Cup, still coming back from that surgery. I think she's going to play 45 and be done.
Good look at Jill Ellis. She's got a number of decisions to make here in the future with the national team. Obviously, the roster goes to 18 at the Olympics, so a smaller roster. Morgan Bryan out of the University of Virginia now. Flares it out wide here. O'Hara. Kelly O'Hara drives the cross in. It's headed away by Haiti. Lloyd is going to get there. Back to O'Hara now. O'Hara played in 3 matches at the World Cup, scoring a goal in the 84th minute against Germany in the semifinal. If you're going to score one, that's a good one to score it in. Johnston, diagonal ball. Lloyd has brought it down. Lloyd with a big hit. That'll go wide. Goal kick, Haiti. As we continue with the Jill Ellis talk, how much change do you think we'll see as we move for Olympic qualifying and then next summer the Olympics in Brazil?
I actually don't think much, because you just don't have the time. You look at that roster, 23 players from the World Cup. Got to get down to 18 for the Olympics. There's 5, but 3 of them are retiring. You lose a goalkeeper on top of that because they had 3 at the World Cup. They can only take 2. So really 1 player you got to cut. Add Crystal Dunn into the mix, maybe 2.
Morgan trying to get around here. It's cleared by Haiti off. Not the best of goal kicks from Edney Lamage.
I think Crystal Dunn will be in that mix, and I think probably looking at some of the young players in that NWSL cycle, because you want someone who's going to come in, who's going to get a little bit of experience that you could then bleed into future cycles, right? Maybe a Sam Ewis. Jill's talked about looking at Steph McCaffrey out of Boston Breakers. Lindsey Horan is over at PSG.
O'Hara has left one. Alex Morgan. Crystal Dunn now. Makes space, drives it in. Lamage does well. A full stretch to cut the cross out for Haiti. Now I know there's also been a lot of talk in the holding midfield spot with Holiday retiring, with Keelan Winters of the Seattle Reign.
Yeah, and even moving like a Julie Johnston into that holding midfield spot. And that's something I think Jill's going to take the next few months to look at.
Sauerbrunn. Lloyd. And it'll be a free kick for Haiti. But back to your point, why break up a wonderful central defender partnership?
Right, exactly. And I actually asked Jill Ellis yesterday about Julie Johnston in that holding central midfield position, and I said I like Julie facing the game. I want Johnston at that center back position. I think that's her strongest position. With Box retiring, Lauren Holiday next to her retiring, those were your 2 holding options for the U.S. Lauren Holiday at only 27 years old as well. I mean, that's some huge shoes to fill.
So who's got the job of convincing her to unretire before she retires? Such a fantastic player. What an NWSL final she had also last year, leading FC Kansas City to the upset over Seattle. Of course, had a wonderful World Cup as well. Lost in it all was that Lauren Holiday scored a goal in the World Cup final against Japan.
Yeah, a beauty too.
Puts her in rarefied air.
And lost in all of that as well, I think that you don't hear enough about Lauren Holiday. She's an amazing human being, you know, and those are the players you want on your team that are positive for chemistry. She's just, they call her Robin Hood, the coach at Kansas City.
Rotko and Anofsky trying to get turned. Megan Klingenberg. Klingenberg again showing that feisty, relentless effort that she has brought to every game that she plays in.
And you got to love that. At 4-0, 30 minutes in, and she's tracking it down into the corner flag, winning a corner out of it.
pushing going on between Morgan Bryan and center back Jennifer Lemage of Haiti. This one driven in towards the back post. The header just goes wide. Powering in there was Alex Morgan. And it'll be another corner for the United States. Rapinoe will make the trek over to take it.
Morgan crashing hard on that one. We saw in that first game against Haiti too, U.S. players coming in. It's off the arm shoulder header.
In that strange area, whether you're wondering if you're going to chest it or head it.
Never really had that problem where I jumped too high that I couldn't quite head it.
Rapinoe. Movement around the 6. This one's driven hard and low. That's a great ball shot. This pushed maybe off the crossbar. It was again Carly Lloyd looking for a hat trick. Not sure if Edney Lemage got a hand on it, but I believe she did. Lemage off her line again now for Haiti.
My goodness, it's like a magnetic force around Carly Lloyd. The ball just comes to her foot every time. She has such a sense about being around the play.
And touched away, it'll be a goal kick for Haiti.
Again, marking in the box, a question mark for Haiti. And there ends up on Carly Lloyd's fit. Lemage doing a good job actually just to get a little bit of something on it.
There's a good look at Carly Lloyd, plays for the Houston Dash, 33 years of age. Has already got 2 today. Again, that miraculous hat trick. We get reminded of it all the time, and the long range goal from the halfway line the other day in the international play. I believe it was for Juventus. Florenza scoring a long range goal, and immediately the comparisons come to Carly Lloyd's goal in the World Cup final against Japan.
Both of them beauties.
Oberon just knocks us over the halfway line. It's headed back by Johnston to Hope Solo. Well, Hope Solo's been a lightning rod off the field, but it all worked out in the World Cup for the United States.
She had such a performance, especially early on in that World Cup. I look at that Australia game, that first half. 2 huge monster saves that keep the U.S. in it. They lose that game or go down a couple goals. Who knows how that World Cup ends up.
Solo today, her 181st appearance. Has 11 shutouts in 2015 as you look at Crystal Dunn. There's Hope Solo. 630 minutes, 15 saves at the World Cup in Canada for her. O'Hara knocks it back. Johnston. Everybody behind the ball for Haiti. That's the way it's been through this entire game. 35 minutes in here at Legion Field. Glenn Davis alongside Julie Foudy. Rapinoe. Knifing run from Carly Lloyd here. Klingenberg lays it down. Morgan comes late. Drives it at the near post. Easily handled by Lemage. Klingenberg playing as an attacking player today, not essentially a left back. Seems to be enjoying herself.
She loves getting forward. When they put her out outside midfield, I said, you seem to get awfully excited about that one. She has this big grin. I love going forward.
Crystal Dunn, speaking of getting forward, will get this over. Lemage comes out with a left hand, punches it outside the 18. Bryan brings it down. O'Hara. Rapinoe in a central area. Brian O'Hara, the U.S. back in Haiti here. Like the way the ball's been circulated here today?
You can see the numbers that Haiti gets behind it. Look at that. They've got 10 players on the field, all behind the ball.
Lloyd works a give and go, working towards a hat trick here. Rapinoe top of the box now. Will switch it to Klingenberg if she can get there. She does. Klingenberg to the end line. Gets brought down. And it'll be a corner for the U.S. Klingenberg wanted a penalty.
She clearly wanted that one. I think that's a good no call not to give it at 4-0 at 36 myself, to give a corner kick, but you got to love the spirit of Klingenberg and how she can get forward. Good no call, I think.
Rapinoe to take the corner. Towards the near post. Ball was loose at the 6. O'Hara is going to line it up. Shot is blocked. It'll be another corner for the United States here. It is relentless. It was Jennifer Rateau getting in the front of that one. The U.S. whip it in the box again. Shooting opportunity, shot wide. Hit coming from Becky Sauerbrunn.
Good look at Alex Morgan and what she's done today. Getting beat up a little bit, though. There's the penalty kick foul. Here's another one straight to the head. Clips her a little bit. She goes down after that one. And then the corner kick as well. And it's Glenn, it's only been two months, a little over 2 months since that surgery to clean up her right knee. So, and on this turf, as you know, players start thinking about it a lot more.
Rampone. Johnston, who also had that 51st minute assist against China. Rapinoe was brought down. Well, the danger against an opponent when you're rolling over him like this is the potential for injury, and some awkward tackles comes into the picture.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you want to have it be a celebration tour. You want to play with great energy, and at the same time, that's always something that you're thinking about in the back of your mind, especially with qualifiers around the corner, Olympic qualifiers in February.
Rapinoe feathers it in. A flicked on header off the crossbar, went in off the goalkeeper. It's Carly Lloyd again, and Lloyd now has a hat trick.
She's shaking her head too. And I just think you just keep giving the ball to Carly. Whenever you're near that 18, inside that box, give the ball to Carly Lloyd. Just flicking it on. Really trying to just get something on frame there. And the Maj helps her out a little bit there. You saw the smile afterward, but when you're on, Glenn, and you ride it.
77th international goal. She's got 3 of the last 4 goals in this game for the United States against Haiti. Third U.S. player to get hat trick in consecutive games. Cindy Parlow did it in 2000, and your former teammate Mia Hamm in '98. Solo might get the award today for doing the least and getting the most applause. She has not been very busy.
Here's one thing you can tell from these games, though. You're seeing, the results against Costa Rica, big numbers the U.S. is throwing up there. Seeing the results against Haiti now, big numbers they're throwing up there. The one common denominator in all of that, getting on the end of these, is who? Carly Lloyd, right? So you know that number 10 position is working well with her, and you start shaping around that. But that is going to be one of the areas, and that person behind her in that holding central midfield position, who is going to play that role? That's going to be one of those that's plaguing Jill Ellis this year.
Ball driven in is blocked by Alex Morgan. U.S. tried the quick counter there with Lloyd trying to pick out Crystal Dunn. Well, one thing we know is working is having Morgan Bryan behind her. So who will that other person be? And here is Bryan. Got a great soccer IQ over the top this one.
And if you stay in that 5 in the middle, do you play too high? Put someone next to Carly Lloyd up higher, like a Heath higher, rather than deeper as they've been playing Tobin Heath? Tobin Heath, as we mentioned earlier, slated to start alongside Morgan Bryan, but took an ankle knock in training and it reacted poorly last night.
Bryan switches it. Sauerbrunn, Johnston now. Yeah, that's one of the interesting areas. We were actually interested to see that today. Continue on for a second consecutive game. Here's O'Hara now to the end line. Drives it across the face of goal. It'll go to the far sideline now. Gerville. And Haiti just really doing all they can just to get the ball out of their penalty area. Johnston now. Rapinoe trying to work a give and go. Here's Rose Gerville again, who's at 22 years of age, the right back for Haiti, an elder statesman or stateswoman. Bryan. More from Kelly O'Hara. Boulos now. She knocked it to Bachiba Louis, who can't hold it.
We've talked a lot, Glenn, about how young Haiti is, and one of the things that I thought Coach Shek Borkowski brought up that was interesting that you sometimes lose sight of is that a lot of them aren't playing into their 20s.
Driven into the box, chance to make it another goal. It's headed over the top, skims over the crossbar off the head of Alex Morgan.
Not playing into their 20s because there's no opportunity to make a living in this game. And here's another one. I think Alex Morgan, a little bit sharper, is going to finish. And these are the things, as she's been fighting for the last 2 years, that last piece of the puzzle we keep talking about is that finishing touch and getting that confidence in front of goal.
O'Hara again wins it. Huge struggle to string passes together for this youthful Haiti squad. Crystal Dunn now. I mean, to just even consider at 16 or 17 years of age, if you're watching at home and you're a 16-year-old youth soccer player, if you picture yourself in this game in front of 35,000 plus fans here playing the world's #1 team, pretty daunting to say the least.
Coach Borkowski said in the Detroit tunnel in their last game, their first game against the United States over the weekend, over on Thursday night, he said they were shaking in the tunnel.
Drives it in. Coming up at halftime, the 5-hour halftime energy report. We'll take a look at first half highlights. We'll also take a look at becoming Alex Morgan. More on that. And a Portland, New York Red Bulls preview as well. It's all coming up on the 5-hour energy halftime report. And it might be the final minutes we see Alex Morgan here today for the United States. And it is a first half hat trick from Carly Lloyd. Countered with goals from Johnston and Crystal Dunn. It is 5-0 United States. This is the 4th match of the Victory Tour. A couple of other dates already have been set in Seattle and Orlando in October. An amazing turnout here in Alabama. Klingenberg now. He's going to make Rampone run a little bit. Minute of stoppage time added here in the first half. Rampone, Sauerbrunn now. Got her 90th cap against Haiti on Thursday. Rapinoe will try a longer range hit, just flashing over the crossbar. That jumped off her right foot. From the Seattle Reign midfielder and U.S. international, Megan Rapinoe.
She's thinking, if I'm going out at halftime, I'm going to give this a crack and try and get one at least before. Why not?
Rapinoe has 31 international goals. 30 years of age. Crystal Dunn. O'Hara again towards Alex Morgan. And that does it. First half comes to an end here. 5-0 United States, powered by, yes, a Carly Lloyd hat trick. The U.S. go to the locker room behind Lloyd and Sauerbrunn, leading over Haiti. Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Halftime Report from Birmingham, Alabama. The United States, a 5-0 lead over Haiti. And boy, one of the most popular things here today is a visit with the World Cup trophy. Let's get right into highlights. And, well, the United States got right into it. It took only 53 seconds. Julie Johnston.
Don't even need a minute. Haiti getting punished for not setting up for that short corner, and it's Julie Johnston on the end of it.
Carly Lloyd from the penalty spot in the 16th, 2-0. And it would be Crystal Dunn.
Dunn doing well to get in behind there. And then again, of course, we see Carly Lloyd on the end of that one as well.
We welcome you back. Glenn Davis alongside former U.S. women's national team midfielder Julie Foudy. All right, again, we have to temper this result with the fact that there are 16, 17-year-olds. This is an under-20 Haiti team here. But what are the positives the United States take out of, in some ways, I'm going to call this a difficult match when it comes to preparation for the Olympics?
Yeah. I think the positives, one, you're seeing again Crystal Dunn. She's getting in behind. She got that goal. She got in behind on that goal, creating things. Carly Lloyd again, having another great game. Even, again, to your point, against competition we know is not great. But on the other side of it, we didn't see any goals out of Alex Morgan. So that's one thing the U.S. probably wanted to get, was a little confidence in front of goal for Alex Morgan. And we're seeing Carly having such success there. So I think there are a lot of good things, but I think you're going to only see Alex Morgan for that first 45, and she would have wanted a goal out of that one. Speaking
of Alex Morgan, immediately after this game, Becoming Alex Morgan, sort of a documentary on her, and this will be very interesting with Alex Morgan's sort of career in a number of ways being highlighted. Let's take a peek.
After the U20 World Cup, Alex was obviously now being considered for the full team.
It's tough with the national team because you just have to wait and hope you get called to the next camp.
Alex and I communicated a few times, and I told her, look, I think you're going to get a call up. Make sure you're fit. Make sure you're as played in as you can be.
When I got my first call up for the full national team, I was home with my family for Thanksgiving. She's like, hi, Alex. I just want to congratulate you and invite you into our next camp. It was just such a crazy moment, and it was so cool that I was home with my family too, and I was able to celebrate with them.
So that's a sneak peek of Becoming Alex Morgan directly after this. And hey, the virtual Alex Morgan has made her way to Bristol, Connecticut, and guess what? She's going to be there live and also on the cover with that. Who's that soccer player?
I've never seen him before.
Not sure.
I do know that number 13 though. She's there on Tuesday in Bristol doing the car wash. That Alex Morgan.
Next to the one and only Lionel Messi, and of course, that is the one and only Alex Morgan, a U.S. women's star. 5-0 United States over Haiti. This halftime report brought to you by 5-Hour Energy.
Welcome back to our halftime report brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Anticipation building in the Rose City for a crucial West against East MLS showdown. The race towards the playoffs is heating up in the West. Portland with very little margin for error. San Jose and RSL creeping up just behind them. Top six qualify for the postseason, remember. In the East, the Red Bulls can clinch a spot in the postseason will win here today and leap back above the likes of Columbus and New England. The quiet before the cacophony, I think it's fair to say, here in the Rose City. Adrian Healy and Taylor Twellman. A big one this. Portland right on the precipice. You see where they are in the standings. No margin for error.
No.
And who would have thought we'd have been talking about the Portland defense as the story of the season for them?
Especially when you and I were here for Caleb Porter's first game in MLS. We thought he would come into the team and blow the doors down with scoring goals. But this year, it started with the acquisition, I think, of Nat Borchers. It brought some solid experience to the back four. You add Ridgewell to that equation. Quaresay leads MLS with 12 shutouts. And then in front of them, you have your Will Johnson and Diego Chara. The staple of this team, ironically, is on the defensive side of things. They have their hands full because the New York Red Bulls can come at you in a variety of ways.
Scoring goals has been the problem for the Portland Timbers. Scoring goals has not been a problem for the New York Red Bulls. They've been exemplary, haven't they, under Jesse
And
Marsch?
a lot of it, Adrian, I think under Jesse Marsch has been the high pressure. So they're the only team in MLS with 4 players that have at least 6 goals and 6 assists. And a lot of it was, including myself, was will Bradley Wright Phillips score goals? He has done that. But it's how they high press. They get you to turn the ball over in dangerous spots and then put you under pressure. They're not built on possession, yet they lead Major League Soccer in possession. I think the Portland Timbers have their hands full at home tonight.
Last time they met here 2.5 years ago, it was a 3-3 draw. Hope you can join us later on at 5 p.m. ESPN. Portland and the New York Red Bulls. This halftime report brought to you by 5 Hour Energy.
Welcome back to the U.S. Women's National Team Victory Tour presented by AT&T, and it is a packed house here in Birmingham, Alabama, in the United States, delivering the goals that these fans wanted to come see here. A 5-0 lead over Haiti as we get set for a second half where we expect some changes here, and the United States making a couple of moves, including potentially that woman, the one and only Abby Wambach. Glenn Davis alongside Julie Faddy. All right, 5-0 after the first half. What do you expect here in the second half when you're a manager, Jill Ellis? What is it you want out of this game?
Well, she's going to obviously make some changes. She's going to get a little time first to Alyssa Nair in goal. Hope Solo coming out. She only has 2 international caps to her name in goal, so she'll get a little time. We're seeing Whitney Ingen in at center back position. Shannon Box getting a run at that holding central midfield position. Looks like Amy Rodriguez is in. There's Whitney Ingen. So she's going to change things up, obviously. You're going to use this as another opportunity to look. Even though at 5-0, Glenn, with a Haitian team that's not giving you much to defend, I'm not sure how much looking you can accomplish.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much fun it is to be a center back. Now, Alex Morgan remains on, and you talked about the potential of getting her some rest because really she has had a career as of late defined by a lot of injury problems.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's balanced with the fact that Alex Morgan wants to get on that scoreboard and get some confidence in front of goal. As we discussed earlier, I think that's the last piece for her getting back from these injuries, is getting that confidence to become the world-class finisher she is.
Game on here in the second half. The United States in white, Haiti in blue. Your referee is Margaret Domko. 7 is Shannon Box, who right away goes over the top, trying to pick out Amy Rodriguez. Bad giveaway. Dunn has won it, and it's cleared by Haiti.
And it fall that far. Come on.
So even though with Carly Lloyd playing in that high position, it was essentially a 4-4-2. This is a more traditional 4-4-2. It looks like they've gone to with Amy Rodriguez and Alex Morgan up front.
Crystal Dunn, and a missed cross here will go out for a goal kick.
And Dunn, of course, has switched over to that left side from the right. Again, another sign of her versatility. Inside, outside, front, back. I think probably the only position she hasn't played is goalkeeper. She probably has played there. I'm going to check on that.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Come on, Mark Connolly.
Julie Johnston has come off in the center back position for Engen. Rodriguez for Lloyd, Box for Sauerbrunn, and Krieger for Megan Rapinoe. Shannon Box fighting through, gets chopped down, no call. The United States and Megan Klingenberg now back to Box. 194th appearance for Shannon Box. Amy Rodriguez. A-Rod swivels it in, kicked away by Lamage. And it'll be a U.S. corner here in the second half. Kristen Press not available today at her sister's wedding. Had one of the goals in the win over Haiti in Detroit on Thursday. U.S. off the corner, goes to the far post, and it's a late runner, and it's handled by Lamage, but there was a whistle and a foul called against the United States and Alex Morgan.
Making 2 changes. Haiti substitution at halftime. Number 7, Rosemary Angela. 16, Carly Marmaker. Are leaving the game. Entering the game, number 13, Sheila Balboa. 18,
O'Hara making a push down the right side here, trying to get it back from Rodriguez. Of course, Amy Rodriguez plays for FC Kansas City, also will be in that NWSL final.
And again, speaking of versatility, we talked about with Dunn earlier. You see it with O'Hara on that right side, going from outside right back to midfield and having that option. Ali Krieger stepping in behind her now. That's going to be a decision that is probably the toughest one for Jill Ellis leading into the Olympics, is that she's got so many wide flank players.
Amy Rodriguez in the hole, shot is blocked. Crystal Dunn now. Dunn has got support from Klingenberg, is going to shield it out and earn the corner for the U.S. here. It's a good look at 18-year-old Bachiba Louie, who plays for FC Indiana. Had 5 goals in Olympic qualifying for Haiti. They were eliminated, coming second to Puerto Rico in their group. And it comes again. Box is trying to get in there. Lamage flying off her line to pounce on it.
Going back to that flank position, look at all the options Ellis has. We haven't seen Heather O'Reilly. We saw how well she did against Costa Rica in that Victory Tour game. You've got Kelly O'Hara, Dunn now. Heath could play out wide. Rapinoe, Kristen Press, as you mentioned earlier. Who am I missing?
It's an awful lot there.
Klingenberg can play out wide.
It's a great stable of wide players. So what ends up being the difference maker for a manager, for Jill Ellis?
I think the thing they were lacking in the World Cup is that player that's going to get in behind. It's going to face up and take on.
Well, you're saying out of that group, who is the best penetrators? Who can beat people and get in behind?
Heather O'Reilly, we've seen her do that. If she can do it on a consistent basis against the top teams in the world, I think that's what Jill Ellis is going to be looking at this year. Crystal Dunn, we've seen it, of course.
Chested down by Rodriguez. The shot will be handled by Edney Lamage, who's an interesting story. At 30 years of age, plays for the Houston Aces. Sends portions of her money home to her grandmother, who still lives in Haiti. And her father was a goalkeeper for the Haitian national team. There's a long-range hit. Edney Rodriguez with pure power smashes it in for the U.S. as the goal-scoring rampage goes on here in Alabama.
No pressure on the ball for Amy Rodriguez, and she just walks it in and says, okay, I'll take that then. You feel a little bit for Lamage in goal because no one's stepping to A-Rod to put any pressure on that ball. And she'll take that any time of the day.
Now we know the power she possesses. Played 118 minutes at the World Cup, but her 86 minutes against China was defining. Very important minutes from her in that match that really began to turn things around for the U.S.
And she's a player with her speed who can get in behind.
Here she is again. She's the target here. It's a good entry ball. And she squared back. Now it goes off the post or the back stanchion. It'll be a goal kick to Haiti. Picks up her 30th career international goal in the 51st minute.
Such pace, so she stretches defenses.
Now, as I saw Amy Rodriguez make that turn there, and I looked at Abby Wambach warming up before the second half. One goes right to the future of Abby Wambach. What is it?
Good question.
Or do we even know?
I talked with her yesterday, and she just kind of rolled her eyes. And I said, "Have you been training?" "Yeah, treadmills across the country." And look, I know you need a break, and you need some time, and I think that's what she said. I just need some time, but you also know that there's only going to be so much patience for Jill Ellis if she does want to continue to keep playing, to not have a team she's training with. So she said, I think in a couple weeks I'll be able to wrap my brain around it a little bit more.
Abby Wambach, the all-time leading goal scorer in international play.
My gut says she doesn't continue, actually, Glenn. And what a legacy if she walked away today that she's left on this game.
Abby Wambach, 35 years of age. Trying to pick out Morgan again. She played in 7 games at the FIFA World Cup in Canada. Had a goal in the 45th minute in the group stage against Nigeria. But such a historic, legendary player. And she is here today in Alabama. Klingenberg. Crystal Dunn trying to make a bad ball, a good one, can't get there.
You know, I go back to the game, 2 games they could have had against Australia, which I think everyone acknowledges was a big loss, not just for Australia, but for the United States.
Back to that in a second because Shannon Box looked like her eyes were opening up for goal. Instead, she switches it wide. It's Krieger now. Drives it in. Rodriguez took the pace out of that ball. Gets fouled. It'll be a free kick to the United States now in the 55th minute. Shep Borkowski, the coach of Haiti, saying we need small successes today. Made no bones about what they were up against, but told us that what a remarkable opportunity it was for Haiti to get to play these 2 games against the United States. We'll talk a little bit more about that after this free kick because Morgan Bryan is eyeing it. He drives it in. It's Bryan again. Crystal Dunn will try the volley. Player down for Haiti. Inside the box. And that's Chevril, the outside back, the 22-year-old who plays for FC Indiana. She's up, gets a nice round of applause here at Legion Field. She actually headed it away.
Yeah, probably took a few stars with that one.
And Cindy LaRue's one we haven't talked about a lot either.
Yeah, she was itching to get into training yesterday. I said, are you already out back training? She had, of course, the ankle surgery post World Cup. They said could be out 3 to 4 months. It's been 6.5 weeks. So what are you doing out there training? That's too early. She said, I know that, but they said I'm fine. I've been running, I've been training. Now I'm just working on getting my fitness back. So she is way ahead of schedule.
25 years of age. LaRue has already had 75 appearances for the U.S. And with that, 35 goals. That's quite the goal scoring record.
And she knows with this roster cut down that she could be one of those bubble players that Jill Ellis has to make a hard decision on. So she is gunning to get back in there and fit again.
Dunn drives it to the back post. Krieger was trying to get in there. Ali Krieger appearing for the 76th time for the U.S. 31 years old. Plays in the NWSL with the Washington Spirit. Driven in cross. And a header glancing back off the post from Morgan. Just can't buy a goal here in Alabama today. Beautifully driven in cross from the United States. Mundeser, the 16-year-old, gets out of that. Ulos can't get there.
And here's another look. What a ball in by Box, but look at Alex Morgan going away from her goal. I mean, talk about a clinical snapping header there. So hard to get any power on that. She did well. Sends it back across the face where it came from. Did everything right, just couldn't sneak it in.
Rampone to Krieger. Morgan now pulling apart the Haiti defense with that mobility. She's drawn two. Tries to beat him. Better be a goal kick, Haiti.
We've talked about, Glenn, the struggles of Haiti with funding and the program. We look at Australia and the reason they're not there. We haven't even talked about that yet. They go on strike against their federation, of course.
Klingenberg off. O'Reilly on. Big moment here for Megan Klingenberg, who gets an amazing ovation here. What a World Cup she had.
Always that smile. You got to love that. And I feel their pain because it reminds me, especially the Australian situation, it reminds me of our team 20 years ago.
Morgan can't get turned. It'll be a throw in U.S.
You know, it's like deja vu all over again. They're fighting the federation, you know, just to have enough to make a living to survive in Australia.
Cross comes in. It looks like it's missed. It's dangerous. It's off the crossbar. The entire goal moves, and with one arm, Lamage pulls it back into place, reminding us that she said she wanted to one day be a bodybuilder.
The U.S. is hit just about every part of that frame today.
Rapone, Dunn ran into Louis. And the Haitians not happy that foul is called. Crystal Dunn has been very active.
Lamage knocking the goal off.
Pulls it back into place.
in the middle of the play.
While dealing with the cross. Which adds to her lore because she is a trainer in Houston, Texas, as well as playing in the WPSL. And told us she wants to potentially get into competitive bodybuilding after her soccer career is over. Heather O'Reilly, who has come on. Cross is played in. O'Reilly again. Rodriguez. Crystal Dunn. Heather O'Reilly only had 9 minutes at the World Cup in one game. Today appearing for her 224th time for the United States. Morgan tried to get turned, tackled away by Bulos. Krieger. And just Kicking things out of there is Haiti. Good look at Ali Krieger. 7 matches and assist at the World Cup. So vital to that U.S. back line. And that will go out for a goal kick. MLS playoff picture now is neck and neck in the Western Conference. Benny Feilhaber and Sporting Kansas City will take on Clint Dempsey and the Seattle Sounders in another edition of MLS Soccer Sunday next week at 5 Eastern on ESPN. It is what they call the business end of the season in Major League Soccer, where possibility still floats to get into the playoffs for many. Sporting Kansas City and Seattle, that's a good one. Shannon Box. Cross comes in. Again, Alex Morgan was the target. Another corner for the U.S. Sovalin will run marking Alex Morgan. It will be a free kick. My apologies. Play a short one. This is a big hit just over the top. Trying to pick out that top corner was Kelly O'Hara. It looked like it had eyes to go into that top corner.
Yeah, Kelly knows how to finish. One of the top scorers ever at Stanford. It's played up front quite a bit. And here she gets a good little sniff of it.
This is a bad ball off the goal kick, and a shot will go off the side netting from Alex Morgan. Now, it's an interesting day for Morgan because she is burning to get a goal here today. You can sense it. Doesn't seem to be happening right now. So take us into the mindset of a striker who wants to score on a day here that the U.S. are up 6-0 against Haiti.
Yeah. Well, these games are so hard because they're so choppy on top of everything else. There's no rhythm to what you're doing. Right? They're sitting in with numbers. Really don't have a lot of space to be running at players because they're all constantly sitting in.
Well, you've been in these games, and you have to stay interested, don't you?
And what we talked about earlier, you set little different goals, right? I'm going to get in line this many times. I'm going to get on the end of this ball. I'm going to find these 3 players in the box. Every set piece is on frame. Every shot's on frame. I mean, these are the little things you come up with. But right now, I think Alex is just trying to get that confidence in front of goal.
She lays it back to O'Hara. Here's Shannon Box, and trying to play into Morgan. Morgan Bryan now.
I surely don't think it helps all these games that they've been playing in this victory tour have been on turf. Right? And I think for someone coming back from a knee injury, anyone who's had a knee injury knows playing on turf, it's aggravating on your joints. That can't be something that she looks forward to.
Box now. And what a career Shannon Box has had, your former teammate.
Oh my gosh, and to come back from lupus and having a baby and at, what is she now, 38 years old, and make the World Cup roster, I thought that was just tremendous.
Rampone got it forward. This is Engen now getting into the box. 2 center backs have been taking turns joining into the attack. But it'll be a goal kick to Haiti. Ali Krieger. And another bad goal kick from Edney Lamache. Again, a reminder, this is essentially the Haiti under-20 national team. The coach, Shek Borkowski, is truly trying to sort of create a soccer culture for women in Haiti. Their immediate hopes are to qualify for the under-17 World Cup. A number of these players will be on that team. Many of them based in Port-au-Prince, a handful of them, 5 of them based in Indiana, playing in the WPSL with FC Indiana under him. So the challenges are great, but there is a purpose behind what they're trying to do. This shot will be parried over the top by Lamanche.
Good look by Heather O'Reilly. Turning and getting a good crack on goal. Morgan Bryan, we haven't talked about much tonight, but Heather O'Reilly just turning that one and trying to take a crack on it.
Anyway, Morgan Bryan just showing us there how she's capable of hitting a pass that opens the game up and finding forwards. That was a beautiful look at it, which is quite the asset for what is being termed sort of a holding, balancing midfielder. United States off the corner here. It's driven into the near post. The header from Dunn goes over the top.
You go back to what you were saying, Glenn, with the Haitian team, and I get frustrated as a player who played against them years ago that you see so many countries like this where there's just so little progress, though, right? That now still, I'm talking to Kim Boulis yesterday, number 6 for Haiti, who's done the program in Haiti. She says, you still don't have any appetite for girls playing in that country, and that's what we have to change. And I go back to FIFA. And I won't go on my 5-hour FIFA rant, but I will go on my 5-second one of
5-hour energy.
As guardians of the game of soccer, they talk about we're here, our mission is to improve it for all, everywhere and for all, yet you find so many countries there's no checks and balances to how they're supporting girls having an opportunity to play. And FIFA has to wield a hammer somewhere on that. Do I got another 5 minutes on this?
No,
because I'm going to get fired up, Glenn.
You can come on my radio show. We can do it there. Box now.
Don't get me going.
It
just makes me so sad that you see so little progress after decades. It's 2015, and it just drives me nuts.
But isn't that part of the legacy of your '99 team, that you really, in some ways, sent the message that women in athletics, it hasn't advanced to where you wanted?
No, it's been too many years. It should be further along.
Morgan Bryan has dumped free kick U.S. and falling on the turf. And slow to get up is Morgan Bryan out of the University of Virginia. She had an eventful year last year, got to the NCAA College Cup final against Florida State. Virginia would get beat 1-0 and then on to the World Cup. That's a woman who has logged a ton of miles. Some are going to put a circle around her and say she is a huge, and she was a huge piece of changing the World Cup for the women, and we'll get back to that in a second after this free kick. But I want to hear your thoughts on that.
And in such an understated way. She's not a player that jumps off the field at you, but she gets the job done.
So Riley's standing over this. Haiti's sitting back on top of their goalkeeper, finally moving up a little bit. But it's all man-to-man in there. It's clipped into the box. Dunn tried to get there. It's 72nd minute, U.S. 6-0. And another free kick for the U.S. So go back to Morgan Bryan and the relationship with Carly Lloyd and how that changed the World Cup.
Well, I think it just allows Carly Lloyd some freedom to get forward. I mean, that was the World Cup. When they changed that shape where Lloyd's freed up to get forward, and she knows that she's got Morgan Bryan sitting behind her, and Holiday can roam a little bit more, but you have that player. It takes that ball and chain off a little bit, so you have the freedom to go. And that's what she provides. But the question mark will be, do they need, and maybe they don't, but you always think of a player that's going to roam through the midfield, kind of like a Michelle Akers or Shannon Box did before her, who also has this bone-crunching tendency as well. That's going to clean things up, win air balls.
Driven in ball. Haiti's still trying to get out of their penalty area. The United States and Morgan Bryant. It's tackled away by Kim Boulos, who Julie had just mentioned. And Boulos, to her credit, has moved to Haiti and is trying to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Not
been
just
involved with the youth club and organizing training sessions for players, playing down there as well. So here's a woman backing her word up.
putting it into action, that frustration.
Rodriguez whips it into the near post, headed away, and kicked away by Haiti. Morgan and Bazoffer. This U.S. Soccer International friendly is presented by AT&T. DirecTV and AT&T are now one, bringing television and wireless together. Crystal Dunn getting a lot of minutes. U.S. fans all decked out here. It was quite the show getting into the stadium here today.
They needed a little positivity after the Bama performance last night, Glenn.
Well, this place has got a lot of history here. Yeah, I know. It was a bad day for Alabama fans.
Realize quickly, you don't want to be in Alabama when that football team's losing.
But a good one for Ole Miss. Morgan turns distributor. Crystal Dunn to the near post. It's kicked away by Haiti. Dunn again now. Morgan will get a right-footed shot off, easily handled by the goalkeeper, Lamage. This stadium opened in 1927 and is hosted from 48 to 88. The Auburn, Alabama, they call it the Iron Bowl down here. But in soccer history, 96, the U.S. played Argentina here in front of 83,000 on the men's side. And then in 2005, a qualifier against Guatemala, which the U.S. won. And Julie, I know you're a big Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, and U2 fan. They have all played here as well.
Look at that. The history.
It's crack researcher Mark Connolly. Haiti with a free kick now. 75th minute. Had a chance to mention Alyssa Nair much, who has come on in goal for the U.S. Only her third cap. Penetration down the right side. Can they get the cross in towards the near post? They do. Amy Rodriguez. Boxing shot. You could hear it all the way up here. It was hit with tremendous power. It was blocked. And then it's Rampone now. Some of the legendary national team players from all levels here, including the likes of Christy Rampone and Shannon Box in the twilights of their career, on display here today in Alabama. Legendary faces. Again with them, Morgan. Morgan has won it back. Will get a crossing. Rodriguez let it go. It's at the back post now. It's a shooting opportunity off the side netting. Another O'Reilly. That one gratuitously got through everyone to her.
I think that even caught her by surprise. Cross Amy Rodriguez. Just a little bit too long to get that sorted for Heather O'Reilly. And then it's closed down. Had to take a second and the third touch. Going back to Nair in goal. Of course, with the Olympic roster being cut down to 18. big decision for Jill Ellis. If you assume for the moment Hope Solo is the #1, which I think is a good assumption, then she's going to have to decide between Nair and Ashlyn Harris, and it looks like those are going to be the 3 in that race. I'm not sure there's going to be much else added to that given the time frame. And I asked Jill Ellis how have these goalkeepers looked, Harris and Nair, and she said honestly all 3 have been outstanding. Really good.
Nair only picking up her 3rd cap today. Ashlyn Harris her 8th. I mean, you will have to plan for the future one day because the goalkeeping position can't be Hope Solo forever, as much as people would like it to be.
And that's why I was actually surprised, because I thought she'd say, oh yeah, we're going to bring in, you know, these 4 youngsters, and I'm sure they will get their looks, but I'm not sure with this tight turnaround between World Cup and Olympics, one's going to have enough experience to break through, with it only being 2 that go, right? So if you get an injury to Hope Solo in an Olympics, you know, that's not the time to bleed a younger player in.
One who's been talked about a lot in the college game is University of Texas goalkeeper Abby Smith, who's been with the under-20s, who's got tremendous athleticism, a tremendous kicking game. There's a lot of plaudits coming her way as potentially another future to vie for the spot in goal, because one day Hope Solo will vacate that position. It's not like golf. Can't play forever.
I mean, we all like to.
Morgan Bryant. Shannon Box gets turned nicely. Haiti has yet to get a shot on goal here today, and very rarely has crossed the half field line. To the back post, Crystal Dunn will try to get one, and it's blocked. Saving play coming out of the middle. And as Dunn trying to pick up goal number 2 for her. O'Reilly will come to take the corner now. 80th minute. You know, the absolute numbers that have come out.
We're still having goal movement over there.
Well, that could be one of the most interesting moments of the day today. Edney Lamage pulling the goal back into place. Rodriguez's shot is off the post and gathered by Lamage. U.S. hitting a lot of woodwork today.
Every single bit of that, both posts, crossbar.
Lamage has had concussion problems over the years. In goal for Haiti, Crystal Dunn. Morgan Bryant. There's Dunn again, who's looking to get the full 90 minutes. Her cross will go over everybody. Another corner for the United States.
Dunn with 15 goals to lead the NWSL this year, won the Golden Boot, and I think she will, when they announce it next week, also win the MVP of the league. And last year she was an outside back for them and a center back.
Ball swung in again, the header will go wide. Let's talk about the NWSL and the direct relationship to the U.S. doing so well at the World Cup. And in this case, the NWSL provided the perfect platform for Crystal Dunn to get herself back into the national team picture.
Yeah, because if you don't have a league where all of a sudden the players are shining and gaining confidence, and I asked Crystal Dunn, I said, what's the difference with you mentally 4 months ago when you didn't make the team and today? And she said, it all comes down to, I know I have the confidence to play at this level now. And I didn't know that before. I had it only in spurts, and now I walk onto the field and it's a totally different game. It feels different. And that comes from the confidence of, I think, of playing at that NWSL level and dominating the way she has.
Spectacular season, 15 goals. And you think she's going to win the MVP over Kim Little of Seattle, huh?
I do.
Okay. You're on
Well,
record.
that's another fun player to watch as well.
Krieger now. Morgan peeling off. Looking to get turned. Combines with Rodriguez, top of the box. She's covered and besieged by 4. Hit takes a deflection. It knocks a Haitian player down. It'll be a corner for the U.S.
Morgan Bryan all alone at the top of that box. Oh, that one goes right to the gut, knocking the wind out of you.
MLS playoff picture again is neck and neck in the Western Conference. It's still really up for grabs. Benny Feilhaber and Sporting Kansas City will take on Clint Dempsey and the Seattle Sounders in another edition of MLS Soccer Sunday. It's next week at 5 Eastern on ESPN. Coming on now for Haiti, as they will make a change. Number 27, or make that 21. That's Emmeline Charles, who I believe is the ripe old age of 15. Years of age coming on to play against the United States in front of over 40,000. Short corner.
Just another Sunday.
Whipped in, deflected, and glanced it. Does Alex Morgan finally have hers? Yes, she does. The smile goes ear to ear.
Is that Tobin Heath she's hugging? For her 100th. She's got a bad ankle, by the way. Good for her that she finally gets it. The short corner again. And there for the deflection. Just hovering, waiting. Good read, a nice little flick, but that will hopefully add a little confidence in Abby with the reaction. Knowing she needs that in front of goal.
Alex Morgan picks up her 54th career international goal. Here comes the United States again. It's whipped to the far post, and Morgan was getting there again.
And if you spin forward, Glenn, looking at those October games, you get Brazil, so there's some competition where you can get some answers. Finally, and that's what Jill Ellis is going to be thinking. I'm running out of time here to get some answers on some stuff.
There's Jill, 49 years of age, of course, long involved in U.S. soccer. She took over for Tom Sermani. She is the 8th coach in U.S. history. And led the team to the 3rd World Cup title. So I jumped the gun. It's not over 40. It's 35,753 fans in attendance here today. But it looks like 40.
Feels like 40.
Definitely feels like 40.
Maybe that's just the heat. And then they got November off, of course. And then you have 4 games in December, so you don't have a lot of time for training because you got to get 4 Victory Tour games in December. They haven't announced who that is yet, but I mean, that's been so much of the challenge is getting top teams in, because then you're only 2 months out from qualifiers.
And those CONCACAF Olympic qualifying, the dates of that are February 10th through 21st in Frisco, Texas, and in Houston. There's a good look at Carly Lloyd. 8 nations will play in it, 2 groups of 4. The top 2 finishers advance to the semifinals. The United States will play all its Group A matches in Frisco, Texas. But the all-important semifinals are going to be held in Houston February 19th. The top 2 qualify for the Olympic Games in Brazil, which will be held in early August.
And that's not a given. Let's rewind to 2011 World Cup, where the U.S. had to get through on a playoff because they didn't finish in the top 2. And they got knocked out by Mexico in that semifinal. And so those are the things that play in your mind as you always respect that tournament and what other teams can do, given it's a one-off situation.
O'Hara gets the cross and the header parried away and then held by Lamage. He's been sort of a human pinata back there today. Morgan let it run. Do you think the U.S. women's national team fans are being conditioned solely for the big event, the World Cups and the Olympics? Is there a danger to that?
What do you mean being conditioned?
Well, I mean, they live up to it every time. In relation to the Pro League, we'll get back to that in a minute. Here's Crystal Dunn. Still fighting. The U.S. are getting on it. It is Heather O'Reilly who gets her 46th international goal. Pounces on that loose ball. And she came off the bench in the World Cup against China.
Lamage staying down after that one. And a miss clear by Haiti. Heather O'Reilly there to finish it off. But Dunn does well just to keep it alive. Really, that's got to be a ball that's cleared out.
Edney Lamage is down for Haiti. Yeah, so back to the question. Yeah, because in relation to the NWSL.
Well, I think it's easier to once every 4 years for an Olympics and a World Cup to summon this national pride, of course. So as a fan, you attract a much broader base. I think the challenge for the league is how do you take that, of course, and make it attractive week in and week out for any league, and especially with women's sports, because I think that's where you're getting to the grassroots. I mean, it used to be so frustrating because you'd fly into a place and you'd play a game and you get a great crowd, but you're not really building a base, right? And you're building a base with these league teams and those games, and that's why it was so encouraging to see that there was a sustained bump from that World Cup. Good crowds in the leagues. Obviously good crowds for these games, but especially that was where I was looking. How is that going to translate at the league level?
Yep, attendance was up at the NWSL, and I'm sure there'll be a great crowd in Portland for the final October 1st between FC Kansas City and Seattle.
And not just up for the first few weeks after the World Cup, too, which is what you expect, but it was sustained. And I think the challenge then again next year is you have a great opportunity with the Olympics and an exposure window, and can you translate that into the league? Building more personalities, building more success, maybe even building more teams with MLS combinations. We've heard rumblings of that. Makes sense now that MLS is much more established in a lot of different areas.
Our thoughts go with Edney Lamage now, who's being stretchered off, and the young goalkeeper, only 17 years of age, Gabrielle Johnny, will come on, who plays in Port-au-Prince with Tigres. So a big moment for her just to literally get on the field here. We've entered stoppage time, 3 minutes of additional time. It is 8-0 United States. The U.S. again will get, as Julie mentioned, more competition in October. 2 matches with Brazil. In 2 great soccer markets of Seattle and Orlando, but Birmingham, Alabama has lived up to it today. And tickets still available for both those matches, according to U.S. Soccer. O'Brien was trying to get in there again. The United States will just see this one out here. A day of celebration, a day of stargazing, a day of fine-tuning some things, and a day where the U.S. just very clearly dominant against a very young, rising Haiti in CONCACAF. And that is the hope for their coach, Shep Borkowski. The hat trick today for Carly Lloyd. Julie, any more thoughts?
I think there's some positives you can take away for sure. And I think they're going to obviously wish it was Australia and you got that type of game in. But I think when you look at the impact Crystal Dunn has had on this game, Heather Riley coming in again, being active. I mean, these are some takeaways that Jill Ellis is going to say, okay, now let's do them in the games where we've got some competition. And that will be the challenge for the players going forward.
And the only real negative today, Tobin Heath didn't get to play. They were going to honor her, or did honor her with her 100th cap, but she was going to be the captain here today. It didn't happen. But a hat trick from Carly Lloyd did. The United States are 8-0 winners of Haiti over Haiti. That is the final. It is 100 straight home matches for the United States without a loss. 88-0-12. Look at Shep Borkowski, who will go back and continue his work with the upstart Haitian national team. We'll take a break. Alex Morgan got one here today from Legion Field. The U.S. 8-0 winners over Haiti. 35,000 plus today saw Abby Wambach and the United States 8-0 winners today over Haiti in the U.S. Women's National Team Victory Tour. And upcoming for the U.S., these will be more competitive matches in October as they continue to prepare for the Olympic qualification that'll take place in February. They will take on Brazil twice. That's our final score, 8-0. We go now to Portland, where Portland will take on the New York Red Bulls in what is a good one. We give it to our good friends Adrian Healy and Taylor Twellman.